Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 21 of tracking the shifting market here in South Jersey, Burlington, Camden, Gloucester counties, $900,000 and below. This week is the single best week in real estate in South Jersey all year. And here's why. So last week, when we took a look at our total active listings, our new listings, our pendings, and our closed, they were down in every single one of those categories. Down, 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 right? Now, what we liked about last week was the proportions. We liked the fact that there were more listings that came on the market that went under contract, and there were more properties that went under contract that actually closed. And that's great because that's starting to add a little bit of kind of a buffer in inventory. So that's really good. Now, this week, we have had a reversal in every one of those categories, but we maintained the proportion. So not only is the market increasing in terms of total active listings and the speed of everything and the homes getting under contract and closing, but they're staying in the right proportion. So last week, 1108 for the total active listings. We're up to 1179, right? So we had a jump up in that. In our new listings, we had 284 last week. We're up to 332, which is the highest we've had. We're going back earlier than week 14. I can't even go back that far for the purposes of just this video for right now. So that's up. Our under contracts, our pendings, that's up from last week, from 273 up to 297. And our closed volume is up from 252 to 276, or units. Volumes for the price. So I'm pumped about this. This is exactly the trend and trajectory that we're looking to see if we want to have a quote unquote normaler, healthier, less crazy market. So those are the parts that I really like. But let's talk on the one trend line that I think we can actually extract from this data. Look at our median list price. Now, median list price is our red graph down here at the bottom right, and maybe I'll just try and pull it up here, and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger for the purposes of this. So you can see these since week 12, we hovered around the $320,000 price mark, and now for the past couple of weeks, we're hovering around the $325,000 price mark. This is a trend line that we can actually start to believe in a little bit. This price increase, this is not something, again, this is not flash in the pan type data. This is now over weeks, months now, we have seen a upward trajectory of price in this area. Now, there is a lot of news coming out around some of the areas of the country that are not as favorable as the Northeast. In this area, for the reason, I could go through 100 different variables, but the end result is, and that's the point of these videos, it's the distillation of that information into a single actionable item. Prices have increased. Now, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was chatting with the buyer that we were outside of a listing. Let me just put this back here. I'll just fix it up real quick. So I was chatting outside of a listing, and we start talking about, well, what if I rent for a year and I'll wait till the market's a little less crazy next year? Okay, so let's play that through. And I'm sure a lot of you that are considering the same thing. Maybe I just hold down for another year here. I'll wait. Maybe next year will be a little less crazy. I understand wanting to wait a year, but make sure you're real with yourself about why you're waiting that year. There's very little saying that it's going to be less crazy next year. But what it might do is give you allow you the time mentally to commit to the energy level that you're going to need when you enter the market. When you enter this market, if you're just a kind of one toe in the pond type buyer, oh, well, maybe I'll get pre-approved. Maybe I'll kind of see what's going on a little bit, but I don't know if I'm going to be right. I'm not going to offer over asking for, I'm not going to do these things. Please don't enter the market. It's not the right time for you. You need to have a strong enough why behind your purchase decision. It can't just be because you're kind of feeling like it. It's got to be I need to move. I am dying to move. This is where I want and need to be to start the next chapter of my life. And I'm willing to commit to it and give the energy and attention and intensity that I need to succeed in this market. We are here in South Jersey. We don't have the luxury of the Floridas, the Oklahomas, and the Californias where they can have enough new construction to start to outlet some of that demand that they have. We are built out. Now, you're going to see some townhome communities and things like that going up. And yeah, we'll still fit some of those things in as you go a little south and as you go a little east. I'm kind of getting my cardinal directions. But as far as the single family home inventory, we're built out. especially the inventory under 500,000 in this area. We are built out. There's no more of it coming. There is a fixed supply of those things basically in this area, which is why we don't have, again, that outlet for other new construction to take the place of the pent-up buyer demand to spread people out. When interest rates do come down, now again, we've talked on multiple times, interest rates aren't becoming high, they're coming back to normal if you look at the 50-year average. But over the last 10 years, yes, we are going higher than what we've been in the last 10 years. So let's think about that again. You have all these people in the last 10 years who have bought a home at a 2.75, 3.125, a 3.5, a 4%, even a 4.5% interest rate. Nice favorable interest rates. And guess what? Remember when they bought those things? Prices were a lot lower. So now you're sitting there, maybe 8 years ago, you bought a home for $300,000 and your payment's $2,000 a month, right? Well, if you were to buy your neighbor's house, same, let's assume that's the exact same house, same model, same everything, you guys did all the upgrades similarly, but you were to try and buy your neighbor's house today, that home is probably worth $375,000, and you'd be looking at a 6.8, 7.1% interest rate, depending on your credit score. So now all of a sudden, instead of having a $2,000 a month payment for the exact same house, you're looking at going up to almost $3,000 a month for payment for that same exact house. No wonder people aren't excited to move. There's going to have to come a point where that interest rate comes down enough from the financial side of things, and your motivation increases enough from your personal situation to then find a justification to get rid of that $2,000 payment and move into maybe a $2,750 payment or a $2,680 payment or something like that. But you have to have those two things match. Now, again, I had a challenge on last week's video to say, if you find anybody out there, economist, Fed, anybody that's saying that the interest rates are going to return to those pandemic levels, I would love to see that. Now, I get that the Fed may occasionally do, they're much quicker to kind of drop rates than they are to slowly increase them, right? We know that they're going to do that. But even if they slash them and go from 7.1 down to 6, down to 5.5, maybe even down to 5, what's going to happen there is, yes, you will start to lessen the burden a little bit from the buyers who want to enter the market. But you got to think about these two different groups that aren't even in the market right now. You have the buyers who are waiting to purchase because of the interest rates come down, who don't own a home, right? You have those people sitting on the sidelines, right? But you also have all the people who do own a home, who are sitting on stupid amounts of equity at the moment, who are most of the time desperate to get into their next place because they've probably been forced to not move for the past couple of years. So they're scratching at the walls to get out of that place. When we re-enter the market in a lower interest rate period and you're renting a year to wait till it to calm down, buckle up. It is going to get wild and crazy, and you're going to start to see those 40 to 50 offers per listing, first 3 days, first 5 days. It's going to become ridiculous. So my thing is this. We also know that the debt ceiling at the moment is being voted on and being trashed, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. But there's a very real possibility that some of that goes to default, or the credit ratings of the U.S. Treasury bonds and all those things start to come down a tick, right? That is all real. How do you fix that at the Fed level? Well, they're going to print money. They're going to do different things. And the thing that I'm the most concerned about is inflation. The money that you have sitting in the bank right now is going to be devalued over the next 5 years. It just will, as it has technically always been through 4% annualized inflation that we've tried and goal for the US and Canada, right? So if that inflation number is going to continue to stay high and you are still sitting on cash, the best thing you can do is to park that cash in an asset. I'm not even saying only homes. What I am saying is assets, right? Now, a home is an asset. And as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the only assets you can actually live in, right? I don't think you can live in gold unless you built a gold house. It'd be a little weird, probably a little expensive. Probably heat and cooling would be weird. All right, we're on a diatribe. The point is this. If you're waiting a year for things to calm down, I don't understand what you're looking at from a statistics and an economic standpoint that would justify that. Now, if you want to wait a year because you're not ready, that I understand. But most of the time, when you're not ready for something, it means that you haven't acquired the necessary information about something to feel completely competent or confident in it. Now, if anybody's having a conversation about, hey, here's my situation, what do you think? Those are the conversations I'm always open to have with you, right? And you can always, my emails, my phone numbers, and all this stuff is found here. I've had a lot, just from these video series, I've had a lot of people that we've just had casual chats about kind of what's going on, your situation. Some people had some interesting, hey, well, I'm waiting to time something from a job, or I have some, I had somebody else who had a family member who was unfortunately going to be passing away and was going to be leaving them some money. There are situations that do make sense to wait a little bit because it would quantum leap you into a new economic bracket. But for the most of that, a lot of that doesn't apply. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this week's video. Again, prices steady and on the rise. We're starting to see a little bit of a kind of positive trend with some of the new listings, but that's only like a week away. So what we hope to see is, I don't know if every category is going to be constantly going up here. That will probably even out again, but let's try and keep those proportions. The total actives, the new listings, the pendings, the close. Let's try and keep that proportion. And over these next coming months, we should get a little bit of a healthier market. All right. I hope everyone has a absolutely wonderful Memorial Day this weekend, and we will see you next week.